and always remain absorbed in purport. The following verse describes a Vaishnava. Manchakalpata just like a desire tree, a Vaishnava can fulfill all the desires of anyone who takes shelter of his lotus feet. Yeah, if you can a little bit lower. Maharaj is a typical Vaishnava. He prays not for himself, but for all living entities, the gentle and the mischievous. He always thought of the welfare of mischievous persons, like his father Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad Maharaj did not ask for anything for himself. Kala prasida tam. May all the envious persons be pacified. The material world is full of envious persons, but if one frees himself of envy, he becomes liberal in his social dealings and can think of others' welfare. Anyone who takes up Krishna consciousness and engages himself completely in the service of the Lord cleanses his mind of all envy. Manasya Badram Vajatada Dokshaje. We should pray to Lord Nishinga to sit in our hearts. We should pray Bahir Nishinho Hridaye Nishimha. Let Lord Nishingadev sit in the core of my heart, killing all my bad propensities. Let my mind become clean so that I may peacefully worship the Lord and bring peace to the entire world. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given us a very fine purport in this regard. Whenever one offers a prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one requests some benediction from Him. Even pure Nishkama devotees pray for some benediction as instructed by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshashtaka. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddho kripaya tava pada pankaja stikaduri sadrisham vichintaya. O son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, that somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from the ocean of death and place me in the atoms at your lotus feet. In another, Lord Chaitanya says, Mama Janishvare Bhavatad Bhakti Rahaitu Tvai. Life after life, kindly let me have unalloyed love and devotion at your Lordship's lotus feet. When Prahlad Maharaj chants, Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya, he prays for a benediction from the Lord, but because he is also an exalted Vaishnava, he wants nothing for his personal sense gratification. The first desire expressed in his prayer is Svastyastu Vishvasya, let there be good fortune throughout the entire universe. Prahlad Maharaj thus requested the Lord to be merciful to everyone, including his father, a most envious person. According to Chanakya Pandit, there are two kinds of envious living entities. One is a snake, and the other is the man like Hiranyakashipu, who is by nature envious of everyone, even of his father or son. Hiranyakashipu was envious of his little son Prahlad, but Prahlad Maharaj had affection for the benefit of his father. Hiranyakashipu was very envious of devotees, but Prahlad wished that his father and other demons like him would give up their envious nature by the grace of God and stop devotees. Kala prasiddham. The difficulty is that the kala, this living entity, is rarely pacified. One kind of kala, the snake, can be pacified simply by mantras, or by the action of a particular herb. Mantra ushadi vasha sarpa kalakena nivaryate. An envious person, however, cannot be pacified by any means. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays that all envious persons may change of heart and think of the welfare of others. If the Krishna consciousness spreads all over, and if by the grace of Krishna everyone accepts it, the thinking of envious people will change. Everyone will think of the welfare of others. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays, Shivam mito diya. In material activities, everyone is envious of others, but in Krishna consciousness, no one is envious of anyone else. Everyone thinks of the welfare of others. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays that everyone's mind may become gentle by being fixed at the lotus feet of Krishna, bhajatat adokshaje. As indicated elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam, Savai Mana Krishna Padaravindayoho, and as advised by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 1865, Manmanabhava Madbhaktaha, one should constantly think of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Then one's mind will certainly be cleansed. Cheto Darpanamarjanam. Materialists always think of sense gratification, but prays that the Lord's mercy will change their minds and they will stop thinking of sense gratification. If they think of Krishna always, everything will be all right. Some people argue that if everyone thought of Krishna, the whole universe would be vacated because everyone would go back home back to Godhead. However, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that this is impossible because the living entities are innumerable. If one set of living entities is actually delivered by the Krishna, another set will fill the universe. Swastyastu vishvasya kala prasidatam yayantu bhutani shivam mitodiya manashadram bhajatada dokshaje aveshyatam nomatirapyahaituki. May there be good fortune throughout the universe, and may all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing bhakti yoga, for by accepting think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendental Shri Krishna and remain absorbed in thought. I will read about the very appearance of Lord Nrsimhadev, his appearance, and this chapter 8, where this is described. We will read the introduction. Not long. So this verse was requested by Prabhu to speak on this verse, and this is one of my favorite verses on the Srimad Bhagavatam and all books. And if you remember when we had a session on success partnership, we actually mentioned this is one of the main verses which are the basis for the success partnership between devotees. It means that here mentioned that devotees who want to help each other succeed, they think of each other's welfare. They think of each other's welfare. So you always want the best for another devotee, and you want to help them succeed in all aspects of life, and especially in the spiritual aspect. So I remember we went to Simhachalam, and at that time this farm was called Navajiyada Nrsimha Kshetra, and we went practically every year. We went to the Nrsimha festival, and for us it was really amazing and shocking to see Lord Nrsimhadev and to see how devotees are worshipping him, to hear these darshan songs, and to see worshipping the Lord. To see worshipping the Lord. I don't know, maybe I should do it. worshipping the Lord in a different mood, in a different mood. If I do it, I will. I'm not as acrobatic as so. So see that there is a different mood of worshipping the Lord. He's scary, and devotees are screaming like crazy, and even in Simhachan they jump on the wall in the kirtan. It's so crazy. I don't know if it's a German style of kirtan, but it was really wild. I mean, and everybody's sweating, and Lord Nishingadev, who has Prahlad Maharaj on his lap, he's smiling. When devotees are getting completely crazy. So it was an amazing experience going there, and we were sleeping at the top floor at the attic, in the attic, squashed one because it was packed. There was devotees from all over Europe. So, although it was austere to actually stay there and to have this austere accommodation, but it was so ecstatic, and of course, Prashara was amazing, and devotees were making amazing kirtans, and it was a refreshing experience. We, I would say, recharged our batteries for the whole year. So I used to be in charge of guiding the driver, because I don't drive, and we had a van which was really old, starting from Croatia and going to Simhachalam through Austria. And I have no idea, I think I had a map, but not GPS. It was just ordinary map. And I tried to figure out which roads we should go through. And the driver, he used to just whatever I tell him. And sometimes I tell him straight, and he sees another road, and he says, where straight, left or right? And I just straight. Straight means follow this main road, but he was always one devotee from I can't remember his name. He was always freezing, so he went later. So, but he would drive us safely to Simhachalam, and we would have an amazing. And I remember one year, it was May, it was Nishinga festival, and it was snowing. There was a lot of snow. But despite this, I mean, devotees were so enthusiastic. And in this temple, there is a marble floor, which is cold. But nobody cared if it's cold and so devotees were so enthusiastic. And of course, if your guru comes, then you are even double enthusiastic. That there is festival and there is your Guru Maharaj, whom you don't see so easy. I mean, we see our Guru, we see him once a year or maybe twice a year max. So this was, and then we had also that translation system, and I was always in the small room during the whole lecture translating for devotees. I think they also had this some kind of a. They had some earphones, but there was from many countries. So there is many translations, like 4, 5, 6 translators. So it was amazing. Nishinga festivals were unforgettable. It's like a little memory or remembrance. Now, this is a beautiful verse, and it's very much, it's the verse from the 5th canto, it's not the verse from the 7th canto. In the 7th canto, from chapter 2 to chapter 10, there is a description of Nrsimha. The whole story is there, and a lot of teachings are there, and we can learn so many things from this story. And now we may ask, who is this Hiranyakashipu, and why should we care about him? Now we know who he is, in the sense that he has come from the spiritual world, and he was cursed, he was Jaya. Okay, this thing, but what is his significance for us? What does he represent in relation to us, if you can tell me?
Today, actually in the street, some woman was telling me that she knows from a yogi friend that he told her about Hiranyakashipu. And this yogi friend was very impressed because he said, oh, he could stand very long, and he could have his arm up all the time, And I told her the story. And
wow.
For many yogis outside, I think it's very impressive to be able to do these magic tricks, basically, these yogic, mystic, physical, extensions of whatever. So it's a materialist kind of. The materialist wants to live forever and extend. And
okay. So this is one aspect. And the significance is of Hiranyakashipu, his appearance, and killing by the Lord. What do you think? Intelligent, but little. So sometimes, are very rebellious, and they really complain about Krishna. So one-to-one, and they say, I'm really angry at Krishna. I'm really or why he doing this, and why he doesn't give me this, and things like that manifests. So we learn from here. We learn from the father Hiranyakashipu how not to do things, and from the son Prahlad Maharaj how to do things. And Lord Nrsimhadev appeared to prove the words of his devotee Prahlad Maharaj true, because he said, my Lord is everywhere. My Lord is everywhere. And I told you maybe this couple of times that in one class I heard, I can't remember, maybe it was my guru, my ex-guru who said this, that when Hiranyakashipu challenged Maharaj, okay, is your Lord in this pillar? Then Nrsimhadev peeked just to give a sign to Prahlad Maharaj, yes, I'm here. And Prahlad Maharaj looked for a second, he said, yes, he's there. If he waved him, or maybe he just appeared, it would be nice if he would wave him. So, I don't know from which Purana, Narasimha Purana, this story, but it's a very nice story that the Lord is not Indian mythology, or he's not some like a fairy tale person, but he actually exists, and he appears in his form, and he can make himself visible to anybody, even to a demon like Hiranyakashipu, if the demon makes him enough angry. So there is two ways how you can see the Lord: make him too much angry, or make him so pleased with your love that he will just appear like he appeared before Dhruva Maharaj, because Dhruva Maharaj developed so much affection for the Lord. He got purified so much by chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya that actually the Lord Vishnu appeared in front of him, and he was just melting. Dhruva Maharaj was dreaming the Lord with his eyes, and melting, and he forgot about his desire to revenge to his father. And I was Swamin Kritartha Nivaranayache. I was looking for broken glass, and I got the most precious jewel. your darshan. And although he got what he wanted, but it didn't mean to him anymore. So you may get what you want. It is said the Lord fulfills all desires, not only spiritual desires, but he will fulfill them in a way that made you. Probably when he fulfills them, they will not mean so much to you. You in something else. So, to me, it's that the way he fulfills desires is that when you are not attached too much with another boy. So this doesn't work always. So now, one thing about our lives is so exciting is that we know that we are not the only doer, and we know that the Lord His fingers are everywhere. So it depends on Him. So sometimes I write to people, they don't reply. Risky, and they're not highly intelligent because they may change their mind at any moment. So never become too attached to anyone, even though, because anything can happen. They can also at any moment. So suffer a lot if you are too attached. So because we are small, we want to get attached to someone and take shelter of someone, of husband, of wife, children, want to take shelter of parents, but it's a temporary. It's called that family members are fallible soldiers. They are fallible soldiers. They will die. They cannot protect you. So Prahlad Maharaj extensively these things in his prayers, in his discussion with the Lord. And all this story is actually Narada Muni speaking to Yudhishthira Maharaj, this whole story. And then later he will ask him about Varnashram, later in the 7th canto. So let us look now at what happened, how the Lord actually appeared. What does it mean? Nikeshari? Nara or Nri? Human? And Keshari? Lion, yes. Half lion and half man, and kill him. Following the instructions of Prahlad Maharaj, all the sons of the demons became attached to Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Amazing preaching has done Prahlad Maharaj in the school preaching. And he didn't preach about Hinduism. he preached about Vaishnavism, which is a sect of Hinduism. When this attachment became pronounced, their teachers, Shanda and Amarka, were very much afraid that the boys would become more and more devoted to the Lord. In a helpless condition, he approached Hiranyakashipu and described in detail the effect of Prahlad's preaching. Hiranyakashipu decided to kill his son Prahlad. Hiranyakashipu that Prahlad Maharaj fell down at his feet and said many things just to pacify him, but he was unsuccessful in satisfying his demoniac father. So one of the things that Prahlad told him to pacify him is, fools like you don't understand where their power is. Hiranyakashipu, as a typical demon, began to advertise himself as being greater than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but Prahlad Maharaj challenged him, saying that Hiranyakashipu was not God, and began to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So first he was nice, and he challenged him. And began to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, declaring that the Lord is all-pervading, that everything is under Him, that no one is equal to or greater than Him. He requested his father to be submissive to the omnipotent Supreme Lord. So he asked him to be submissive to his greatest competitor. That's The more Prahlad Maharaj glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead and agitated, Hiranyakashipu asked his Vaishnava son whether his God existed within the columns in the palace. And Prahlad accepted that, since the Lord is present everywhere, he was also present within the columns. When Hiranyakashipu heard this philosophy from his young son, he derided the body and just the talk of a child, and forcefully struck the pillar with his fist. As soon as Hiranyakashipu struck the column, there issued forth a tumultuous sound. At first, Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons, could not see anything but the pillar, but to substantiate Prahlad's statements, the Lord came in his wonderful incarnation as Narasimha. Half lion and half killed many of his followers. When there was no one else to fight, the Lord, roaring with anger, sat down on Hiranyakashipu's throne. The entire universe was thus relieved of the rule of Hiranyakashipu, and everyone was jubilant in transcendental bliss. Then all the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, approached the Lord. These included the great saintly persons, the Pitas, the Siddhas, the Vidyadharas, the Nagas, the Manus, the Prajapatis, the Gandharvas, and the Charanas, the Yakshas, the Kimpurushas, the Vaitalikas, the Kinnaras, and also many other varieties of beings in human form. All of them stood not far from the Supreme Personality of Godhead and began offering their prayers unto the Lord, whose spiritual effulgence was brilliant as he sat on the throne. So all these different kinds of inhabitants of the universe, they actually, every group offered prayers to the Lord, offered one prayer each. But nobody actually dared to step forward and to pacify the Lord. And they all pushed Prahlad. They all pushed Prahlad Maharaj. And then, Sadhana? Surrender. What else?
Taking shelter.
Taking shelter. What else?
If I wouldn't care for the outcome,
not be attached to results. Yes?
Yeah, realize that we're not the body, that we're the spiritual soul.
Okay. It seems that all of you don't know the answer to this question. At least the answer that I have in mind, so you cannot read my mind. So, we are afraid of suffering, and what is suffering? Yeah. And ignorance is the cause of what?
Lacking of knowledge.
What?
Lacking of knowledge.
Cause of lack of knowledge. Yes, but that's the same thing. Ignorance, lacking of knowledge. But due to ignorance, we do what?
Mistakes.
Mistakes. What else? What is the other? Sinful activities. So if one stops being sinful, he becomes fearless. And on top of it, if you chant Hare Krishna, you become fearless. Because fear is afraid of the holy name, afraid of Krishna. Fear personified is afraid of Krishna. There was, in my country, there was one book which is made, one book that is made of the statements of the children in orphanage. You know orphanage? Abandoned children? No parents? Yeah. So, and they have amazing statements. One was asked, what are you most said, I'm most afraid of fear. Afraid of fear. So he's most afraid of the feeling of fear. Then another said, actually the title of the book is The Pen Writes with the Heart. But what does that mean? I don't know if you have this in Russian or in German, but there is this carbon pen, you know this old pen with carbon? You have to do this and you can write. So we call this part in my country heart. Pen.
What part?
Heart. Carbon part which writes. There is a wooden part and the carbon part. So the title of that book is Pen Writes with the Heart. So it's a double meaning in one sense. So there is many statements there. And so he said, I'm afraid of fear. So if you want to drive away fear, then you chant the name. And especially when we are smuggling from other countries and we come to the border, then we chant the name of Nishingadev. You know that? This is a fearful situation because the customs, they can say, what are you having? Oh, we have to pay the customs. But they always bring paraphernalia for the temple shop or for distribution, and this is the main source of income. And then they say to the customs people, you know, please let us go. This is our only source. And once they were actually from airport, the airplane landed in Croatia. They had to bring a lot of paraphernalia and incense, you know, the saris, dhotis, and they had a effect. And then actually the customs person, and they were chanting Nishingadev, but the customs person, he wanted to check everything, and he saw what they had. And they really chanted Jai Nishingadev. And the customs guy got very angry. So he let them go. Then, related to this other time, actually, Prabhupada's Murti, but he so big Murti of Srila Prabhupada arrived from India or from America again. And he put Srila Prabhupada on the back seat, and two devotees were standing on each side. And when they came to the border, the customs guy asked passport for Prabhupada. he looked so alive. Srila Prabhupada looked so alive. And they said, but this is actually, I don't know if they said this is a statue. This is Srila Prabhupada, this is our teacher. And he said, you have to give him passport for him. So, but at that time they also prayed to Lord Nishingadev because it was risky to bring Prabhupada. And then finally this custom, he understood that he doesn't need a passport. I mean, Prabhupada needed visa in America, but that doesn't need a passport. That he's more. So they let them go. So Lord Nishingadev helped them in these two instances. We see that when the Lord appears, then personalities first show, but repeated. Similarly, when the Lord appears in the heart, and when the holy names appears in the heart, all our anarthas were protest. They will say, what I want to get pure, that's not good. All this anger, greed and lust. And they start to rebel and they start to protest. But if you continue to chant, they slowly, actually, they become defeated. So from this story, we have to understand that Hiranyakashipu is in our heart. There's Hiranyakashipu in our heart. The whole story is that we have to kill the demon in our heart. And in this beautiful verse, actually, that we read today, we go back to that verse. Prahlad Maharaj is mentioning some beautiful, beautiful points that really inspired me even first time when I saw it. And more devotees are calling. And to me, this verse was one of the inspirations to create this kind of structured programs, how devotees can associate that help each other succeed. So part of helping each other succeed is mentioned in this verse is thinking of each other's welfare. Thinking of each other's welfare. We write to the so now I'm staying here for some time. Devotees ask what you're doing there. So I have a text ready. One click. My japa is in shambles, or it's in in the cellar, or like it's deep, very deep down into the ignorance or something. Yeah. Or imagine you meet a friend and ask him, "How is your reading of Shastra?" "Oh, it's so non-existent." So thank you for reminding me. I should start reading. I'm planning to read since I joined, but I was too busy with service, so I couldn't read too much. Before I joined, but after I joined, my reading continued only when I had the Bhakti course. And after the Bhakti Shastri course, I stopped reading. So, thinking of each other's welfare, when we ask how are you, then we also ask how can I serve you, how can I contribute to your success, how can I contribute to your feeling good in this movement. Do you need anything? Do you need anything? So we think of each other's welfare, but not only spiritual welfare, but any kind of needs that the devotee has, so that he can practice his devotional service. We want to help different areas. And Krishna is so pleased when that you get all benedictions and everything you need. When I turned on my computer this morning, it was 9:22, and this verse is 9:22, and I remember that verse. This verse means that for those engaged who worship me, telling us to think of everybody's welfare, how people will be. And he's having some amazing verses. Yogis go to Himalayas to find their own liberation. They meditate and they don't go to big cities, but we want to stay in places where there are a lot of people so that they can get Krishna consciousness in one form or the other, in form of prasadam, in form of the holy name, in form of the festivals. And so this is a big city in Germany, and you have so many people here to whom you can approach, and to whom you can give Krishna consciousness in one way or the other. So thank you very much for listening and participating in the festival. Although the kirtan was loud, police didn't come, so and neighbors didn't tell on us or something.
No, we didn't open the door.
Actually, the kirtan was so loud they just opened my door, and devotees, I sent some audio messages to devotees. They can hear how exactly kirtan is in the Cologne temple. I sent to Brazil, I sent to Croatia, I sent to different places. So, especially the last part when there was Nishingare prayers. So thank you very much for listening. Do you have any questions about Nishingare? Yes?
So it is known that the materials in the body.
Do you know what happened?
3 times must burn demon.
he was cursed to be born 3 times as a demon, 3 lifetimes.
Okay.
So I don't know, after this lifetime he was born again as a demon?
They have the opportunity or not?
Ravana and Kambakarna and Shishupala and
Dantavakra. But it is said if you are killed by the Lord, you attain liberation, isn't it? But I think impersonal liberation, isn't it? Yeah, impersonal liberation. So this is not. No.
No, not
But I don't.
personality, but
Some demons, she got the position of his mother.
Was it
he
not?
was not the demon in the spiritual world. Jai, Torvekta
Yeah, the gate. The protector.
Okay, I will find some quotes from the database. You will see.
But was not like that they had the opportunity either born 3 times as a demon, 5 times as a devotee, and then decide, okay, I prefer this because then I come more fast back to Krishna. And I guess that after these 3 lives, they go back on.
Yeah. No, but there is a statement about in general, if a demon is killed, any demon,
In general, this is
impersonal liberation. Oh, okay. Sayuja Mukti?
Yes.
Sayuja Mukti. Oh. So, but this is not a good strategy to become a demon and get killed by the Lord. This is not recommended. This is not recommended like a personal strategy.
No. Bill Gates is a
Okay, so any other question?
What is the difference between moksha and Brahma Jyoti?
Muktir hitvanya tarupena vyavastiti. The real liberation is described in the Bhagavatam when you attain your svarupa, your original form and position of a servant. Hitvanya tarupam sarupena vyavastiti. Personal liberation is temporary. There is this long verse, Aruya Kritrena Param Padantata Yado Nadrita Yushmadangraha. So there, which describes that you have to fall down again if you attain this liberation. You have to fall down. Then those who attain this kind of liberation, they actually come back and then do welfare activity. Because if you just remain as a spark, it's boring. Maybe it's good temperature or good light, but your nature is to be active. So you want to do something, and because they don't have taste for bhakti, then they engage in welfare activities, which is some kind of moral goodness activities. And because they have done so many austerities to attain this, so they are to some extent in moral goodness, but they need to meet a pure devotee and develop a taste for chanting, for devotional service. Okay, so any
Vaishnava philosophy, mukti means going back to Godhead and serving Him. In Mayavadi philosophy, staying in Brahma Jyoti.
I think so. Yes. Okay, so let's stop here. You will do a kirtan until 9 o'clock or something.
Yeah. I heard actually that at 9:45 Krishna will appear. According to Satyananda Swami.
9:45.
Yeah, that means in exactly 3 minutes.
8:45.
Yeah, 8:45, sorry.
Oh, so we are on time.
Yeah.
We are on time. But if we had 1 more hour, we could do another kirtan to call the police.
Yeah.
So they also get purified
3 minutes.
in 3 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you very much and have a wonderful festival, the rest of the festival.
Guru Prabhuji ki
Prabhupada ki jai, Shingadeva Appearance Day ki jai, Simhachalam ki jai, Gaura Bhaktavrinda ki jai, Kel Iskon Kel Kirtan ki jai.